To say I interviewed Edgar Harrell is not accurate. I listened to him. A story that glues you to your seat, mesmerizing, terrifying, and unforgettable.
The USS Indianapolis had just delivered the components of the atomic bomb. 1,196 men on board, including a young Marine, Ed Harrell, who was just off the farm from land between the lakes. The ship was on its way to the Philippines when two Japanese torpedoes sunk the ship July 27, 1945. He saw men burning alive, saw men sinking, trapped in bunks, now tombs, cries and shouts in the dark.
Kind of like an echo, abandoned ship, abandoned ship. I go over and get a hold of that rail and look out into the blackness of the night, and you just think life is over. This is the end of life. But to hold on to that rail, and as I tell the story today, I say that there's times when you pray, and there's times when you pray, and I looking out into the night thinking life is over.
And with that, Ed Harrell leapt into the oily blackness. It is believed about 900 of the men made it into the water, but that water was full of oil and the men are covered in it, some blind now. But it was about to get worse. All the noise and commotion brought sharks, oceanic white-tip, man-eating sharks.
Seeing your buddies gutted apart every little bit, you hear a blood-curdling scream, and you look, and there's a buddy out there, and all of a sudden you see fins. The body goes under, and momentarily, like a fish cork, it comes to the surface, and from there, then sharks. And you dare not to go and check, see who your buddy might be. Sometime later, though, you check him, you find out that the bottom torso is gone, or he's disemboweled. Now we're just losing men just every little bit.
The men who drank salt water got saltwater poisoning. They go mad. Others die of dehydration after throwing up the oil they swallowed. By day 4, nearly 600 more men are dead. And the men who are alive are not floating, they are sinking. Their kapok jackets have lost their buoyancy after so many days in the water.
We're swimming, having to swim. It's not floating out there in a kapok jacket, 6-8 foot swells. Every little bit you look up on that swell up there and you see a body up there, and then that swell breaks and comes down and he hits you and he leaves part of the residue on you. You're going to wear that now. It's much easier to die than it is to live. All you have to do out there to die, quit swimming. Just quit swimming.
But then on day 5, a U.S. plane flies overhead. It had a loose antenna. The pilot opens the hatch doors.
He saw the sun hit the oil on our clothing, maybe not just ours, but he could see flashes of oil from that distance. When he got down much lower, he said as far as his eyes could take him, there was debris and boys. Later they say we were scattered over 25 miles.
316 men survived, including Ed Harrell, but he was so broken he couldn't even talk about what happened until one day a family friend forced the troubled young man to tell it all. He barely got the story out, but afterwards.
I saw that telling it helped me. It's the cathartic that I needed, desperately needed.
Ed Harrell has told his story an estimated 500 times. He is 94 now, given less than a year to live, but he is happy. The last living Marine from the USS Indianapolis. His life has been a model of devotion.
Your hand will lead me.
He is a chaplain. He's been married to his wife, Ola, for 71 years. He praises God constantly.
Every day I spend time praying and thanking Him.
He has kept his promises.
Edgar Harrell told his story an estimated 500 times. His life was a model of devotion. A chaplain who was married to his wife, Ola, for 72 years. Thank you for your service, Mr. Harrell. I will never forget you. I'm Dennis Ferrier, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.